Would you like to always be successful by getting people to do what you want? The key to achieving this lies in mastering manipulation techniques. Throughout history, leaders like Adolf Hitler, Julius Caesar, Napoleon Bonaparte, Joseph Stalin, Henry Kissinger, Joseph Goebbels, Mehmet the Conqueror, Vladimir Putin, and Steve Jobs have attracted many followers and made significant changes in the world through their influence on the human mind. You can control the human mind with 10 techniques that have been successful for thousands of years. Remember, although the techniques we provide may seem simple, mastering them will take time. At the end of our list, you will discover the golden rule that all great leaders throughout history have mastered. Are you ready to journey into the mysterious world of the human brain? Then let's begin. This is one of the most preferred manipulation methods by leaders throughout history. Uncertainty is the weakest point of the human brain. While in the perception phase, the brain completes ambiguous subjects it encounters. Thus, when you communicate with someone, you reach their inner world through ambiguity. For example, if it's unclear whether the animal you're describing is a goose or a duck, and you say, "There is a big bird with white feathers that can fly and I love it very much," the other person's subconscious will perceive this example as your favorite animal. Thus, the other person will think that you are a lover of geese or ducks, just like them. If the goose and duck example sounds funny, let's analyze a job interview. Provide information that sparks the other person's imagination without drawing boundaries. For instance, while discussing your previous job, it's sufficient to mention your love for work, being a workaholic, and your successful projects. The human brain will fill in the gaps to perceive the information. People's favorite music, teams, political views, lifestyles, and dressing styles will give you valuable insights about them. A good manipulation master waits for the opponent to make the first move, then observes and directs them according to their tastes. For example, if you want to impress a football fan, talking about basketball will create a distance between you, but supportive comments about football will instantly connect you. Suddenly, you are no longer a stranger, but a close friend to them. As you can see, the best way to break the protection mechanisms in the human brain is to talk about football with a football lover. Tell people with strict political views what they want to hear, and treat your boss like a leader who has rediscovered the world. Not convinced? Go and talk to someone whose tastes you know about these topics. In a short time, you will see changes in their body language, and they will be more genuine and comfortable around you. When considering manipulative people, this technique might seem silly at first. Showing yourself as weak actually provides a strategic advantage. The human brain protects itself based on the attitude and power of the person in front of it. If you present yourself as harmless and weak, the other person will slightly underestimate you and lower their defense mechanisms. Take Adolf Hitler, for example. Without knowing what he did, his appearance in photographs might seem absurd to you. Hitler's mustache style, short stature, and thin body were far from the strong leader Germans were accustomed to. Researchers suggest that people initially listened to him because they found him amusing. Even in his fiercest speeches, they didn't react because he was seen as harmless. Hitler actually started World War II by appearing weak and influencing people. Those who saw him as harmless eventually became captivated by his speeches because no one took him seriously enough to oppose his ideas of war. Their subconscious minds weren't defending against Hitler's ideas and were open to any influence. Strategically, everyone expects any action from a person who seems dangerous, and when it happens, they are not surprised. However, even the slightest aggressive action from a weak person will surprise and scare people. Unsuccessful manipulators spread fear and minimize the number of people they influence. An excellent example of effective manipulation is classifying people. While this may seem disgraceful in daily life, you can see all manipulative leaders doing it. For example, Steve Jobs classified people as visionary individuals passionate about technology or traditionalists to gather people around him. Those who used his products were seen as people with a vision for technology. Although classifying people in social life is considered disgraceful, Masters of the art of manipulation have always done so throughout history. Remember, today's marketing and branding concepts are based on classification. Classify people according to their tastes, demeanor, dress, and loved ones. This way, you can address them better. Everyone chooses to trust people of their kind. If you follow the previous techniques correctly, this will be very easy to achieve. One of the most important rules of manipulation is to make people dependent on you. If the people at your workplace, your lover, your family, and your friends become dependent on you, you will see that they start to do whatever you want. To make someone addicted, it's crucial to gain their trust and appear to be from the same world. While giving people what they want, adjust the dosage well. People won't need you if you suddenly give them everything they want. Stalin was one of the leaders who used this method best. He united the bureaucracy in the Soviet Union around him. Without Stalin, unity couldn't solve any problem. Thus, the people saw that Comrade Stalin was solving their problems and liked him more. Hassan Saba is the best example of someone using this method. Saba went to Alamut Castle and first bound the ruler to himself with mind games, then conquered the castle alone. Beyond the perception of reality, the human brain reacts in two ways to long, detailed stories and visuals. It either accepts them or ignores them completely. That's why many leaders and executives carefully choose everything from their clothes to hand gestures, taking precautions to distract you during their speeches. Tell the person you want to manipulate about your hard-to-believe goals. If you don't want to do the job, make long, hard-to-believe, and confusing excuses. Use your hands constantly to draw attention to different places. As a result of these illusions, the other person will either accept everything you say or give you what you want without caring, because they weren't really paying attention. For example, the first time you go somewhere, the road seems long because your brain tries to perceive everything around. But if you use the same route every day, you'll find that the time taken is actually shorter. Your brain switches to autopilot. It's possible to capture this autopilot with regular repetition. Unsuccessful manipulators become insistent and cause the other side to shut down. Almost every successful manipulative personality, however, imposes their ideas on the other person's subconscious through repetition slipped into conversations. By slowly heating the water, you can get people to accept what you say. This will work in your private life, business world, and even places you visit regularly. Just be patient. This technique, mastered by Hitler's propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels, combined with media, laid the foundations for World War II. This method was widely used by the USA and Soviets during the Cold War. Today's advertising strategies are based on repeating discourses differently. When it comes to emotions, the human brain is weaker than you might think. To be a successful master of manipulation, you need to master human emotions. The way to manage thoughts is through emotion. You need to understand the emotions people feel intensely and speak accordingly. If you approach someone who is in pain and unhappy as if you feel the same, you will successfully manipulate the other person. You probably enjoy the friendly attitude of many celebrities, executives, and politicians. This is actually a successful method of manipulation. Until a person truly feels your superiority, act as if you are at their level. Trying to dominate people immediately only makes weak individuals afraid of you. Every frightened person will oppose you at the slightest weakness they see. Mehmet the Conqueror and Alexander the Great made this method a lifestyle. They learned the language and behaved according to the customs of the people in the lands they conquered. Mehmet the Conqueror gained the trust of Byzantines and Galatians by speaking their language. After taking Istanbul, he did not touch their clothes and culture. Thus, even the non-Muslim people in Istanbul did not think of betraying their new rulers. As they embraced their conquerors, they became ready to protect their new state against external attacks. Now, we arrive at the golden rule of manipulation. It is a technique that is simple to say, but requires expertise to implement. People may accept what you say out of kindness or love for you. When they realize you are using or manipulating them, their attitude will become very harsh. If there is one thing that all masters of manipulation in history know, it is the success of directing the desires of the other side. This method works for anyone, from the simplest request to managing audiences. For example, if you want to do something, tell your friend how bored you are and that something needs to be done. At that moment, they will say yes or no as they wish. For the manipulation to work, suggest that they seem very stressed and tense, and that they will feel better by having a drink together. You presented your thought as if it was their desire, no matter how bad they're feeling. Now, they will come with you 100%. If you pretend that the other person will gain something for their own benefit, it will be very easy to get them to do what you want. When turning the thousands-year-old Roman Republic into his empire, Julius Caesar said that the people needed it. He publicly rejected the imperial crown given to him 3 times, stating that he did not want power and would undertake the duty to serve the people. If good bosses want to put extra work on their employees, they say that what they're doing will bring positive results for their employees' careers, so everyone takes on the extra work without problems. We've come to the end of our list. Remember, although these 10 items seem very simple, mastering manipulation in the real sense is a patient process. See you in our next video.